Today's video topic is fear of losing money in stock market. If you have ever been afraid of losing money when putting it into the stock market, today's video is definitely for you. I have definitely had this fear and I have been able to overcome this fear, so I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to do this. I am Tiffany Thomas, your wealth mentor. I achieved financial freedom in my 30s and became a millionaire at 40. I'm here to help you do that even earlier and easier. Let's dive right in. All right, let's talk about this fear of losing money in the stock market because it is very real. And I had this fear in the very beginning before I started investing my money in the stock market. I did have a 401k with my job, with my previous employer, and I was investing money inside of that 401k, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And I knew I wanted to invest more of my money, but I was really afraid to. I did think that I was going to lose my money. So today I want to walk you through how to really mitigate this fear so that you're actually able to invest your money in the stock market and be successful with your investing. First off, let's acknowledge that the fear is real. It is there, that we do have a fear of losing money. I don't want you to try to disregard this fear. Just acknowledge that it's there, and then I'm going to give you the steps in order to overcome this fear. The first thing that we can do is to understand risk versus reward. If we are leaving our money sitting in a savings account, that is very, very little risk, but it's also very little reward. I know I made this mistake. I had way too much money sitting in my savings account. When I was in my 20s, I had about $54,000 just sitting in my savings account, and I needed nowhere near that much in my savings because I only had one property at the time and my expenses were pretty low. So first off, let's acknowledge that we need to invest our money in order to create a higher reward. We cannot leave our money sitting in a savings account and think we are going to be able to retire and live off of that money, because it is not possible. I do not know anyone who's retired with just money sitting in their savings account. So once we realize that we need to invest our money to create exponential growth, then I can share the tips on how to mitigate our risk. The next thing we can do is to educate ourselves. We have to know what we are investing in order to understand that we are not going to lose all of our money in the stock market. If we don't understand what we are investing in, then we are still going to have that fear of losing our money. So good thing you are watching this video and educating yourself about how to reduce this fear of losing money in the stock market. And this is actually one of the first steps that I took in order to invest my money in the stock market and really overcome that fear of losing all of my money. But when I set up my own investment account and started investing, the first stock that I purchased, the first investment that I purchased, was not done very smartly. I just went off of a tip from a random blogger that I had found. And once I did that, I thought, Tiffany, that's not the best way to invest your money. Let's change your strategy and be a little bit better at this. And that's what I did. I started educating myself on different investments out there. For example, different companies that I could invest in. And one of them that I chose to invest in was Facebook. And that's because I understood Facebook. I knew what it was about, what the company was about. I was personally using Facebook. I had a lot of friends, I have a lot of friends that use Facebook. And so I decided to invest some money in Facebook. And then I chose a few other stocks, individual companies to invest in as well. And I was still a little nervous, so I wasn't investing a ton of money in the beginning. But once I started to watch my investments after I had invested in those companies and start to see the price over time and start to realize that what I am investing in is actual companies. They're actual businesses. It's not just something arbitrary that isn't providing a service or a product or helping to improve the economy. These are physical companies that are hopefully going to grow over the long term. And once I started thinking about it in that way, then I was able to invest even more money. And I started investing thousands of dollars instead of just a couple of $100s. And then as I progressed further on my journey, I found index funds, which are investments that have a whole bunch of companies or even bonds inside of those index funds. For example, there's one that follows the S&P 500. So it tracks the index of the S&P 500. It has all of those companies that are on the S&P 500 inside of this one index fund. So if I were to invest inside of that one fund, then I'm getting exposure to all of these different companies, which is a lot less risky than investing in a single company. If you are investing in a single company and that company goes out of business, then yes, you are going to lose your money. But if you are investing in multiple companies, or if you are inside of an index fund, which has at least 500 companies inside of it, then the likelihood of you losing your money is very, very low. So we want to make sure that we are diversifying our investments. That is going to mitigate our risk, but still give us a high reward. And going right along with this, if we can keep a long-term perspective, then we are going to be a lot better off as well. Because the way that we lose money is to sell our investments at a loss, or if the company does go bankrupt and we didn't pull our money out before, then we are going to lose our money. But if we are investing in certain companies or in index funds, we can keep an eye on those companies or those funds, then we will be aware if they are not doing so well, and we can pull our money out and still get some money out of those investments rather than just waiting for it to go bankrupt and then losing our money. But if we are watching our investments and we see them start to drop, we need to have that long-term perspective and really think, okay, is this company no longer a good company? Are my original reasons for buying this company no longer valid? Or is there just something going on in the economy and I know this company is going to pull through and eventually have their stock price go up again? That is going to make a big difference if we can keep that long-term perspective. That way we are not going to sell our investments at a loss. We can actually realize, oh, you know what, this is still a good investment, and I can actually invest even more money into this investment at a lower price and watch that go up over the long term. I know I have personally seen this with my own investing. There was a company that I invested in, and it was a pretty risky investment for me because I wasn't too familiar with the company. I hadn't been studying the company and watching the stock price and realizing the trends for the company. I just thought, oh, this price seems really low, I'm going to get in. And that was honestly a mistake on my part, and we're going to talk about this more in just a moment because it is the next part that I want to talk about. But nonetheless, I invested in this company and it did eventually come back up just over where I had originally purchased this company, and it took a while to do that. But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to get out of this company because it is not where I want to have my money invested any longer. So I sold that investment and put that money elsewhere. And let's move into the next part. And this one is not basing our investment choices off of emotion. If we can be careful of the fear and greed that arises when investing in the stock market, we are going to be a lot more successful investors. Like I mentioned, when I had purchased that company before, because I thought it was at a really good price and that it would come up fairly quickly, I did not do my homework on that company. I just wasn't super familiar with it. And I had made my investment decision based off of greed, essentially, because I thought it would come back up fairly quickly. And it did not. So we can overcome our fear of losing money if we are not basing our decisions off of emotion, off of fear and greed. If we can do our research and educate ourselves about our investments and pick good investments that are going to go up over the long term, we are going to be a lot more successful and not have that risk of losing all of our money. And I was talking to a friend just really recently who I hadn't spoken to in years, and he was telling me about some not so successful real estate investments that he had done, but he also had talked about investing in the stock market. And he had made some really risky investments in the stock market and lost a lot of money that way. And he was asking how I like to invest my money, and I told him that I invest in more stable companies, that I do have a few individual stocks, and then I also invest in an index fund. And he said to me, oh, I wish I would have done it that way. He was just trying to make a quick win and it wasn't really working. And once he tried that, then he thought, well, I need to try it again. I need to try to make this money back. And that wasn't working either. So it's important that we are not basing our investment choices off of emotion, that we can take a step back and think, all right, is this a good investment? Will it grow over the long term? Yes. Okay, let's make the investment. And of course, we all make mistakes and we can learn along the way. That's why I'm sharing these videos with you, so you can learn from my mistakes and not make those mistakes along your investing journey. And then another thing that we can do to overcome this fear of losing money is to get advice from those that we trust. And for me personally, those people that I trust are those that have achieved what I want to achieve. They are at the position where I eventually want to be. I'm not going to trust a random stranger who is going to try to make me invest in something that is not going to be the best for me and doesn't even have the net worth that I have or above what I currently have. And if I am one of the people that you think you would trust and you want to work with me on investing in the stock market, I have a free masterclass where I go over how I can help you invest in the stock market. And I will leave a link to that below in the description. You can click on that and check out the free masterclass. Comment below and tell me the one strategy you learned today that is going to help you the most in overcoming the fear of investing in the stock market. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information. And hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to see even more great content from me, make sure and check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.